Hi folks, and welcome to another video on Pyxel. In this video I'm going to show you the 6 tutorials which contain 6 example programs and see how those look when you execute them on Pyxel. And at the end of the video I'll do a summing up of what my thoughts are on the performance of Pyxel and those 6 tutorials. I showed the whole process of working through tutorial 1 in the Blockly program in the unboxing video that I did. Using the Python programming follows the same sort of tutorial, and tutorial 1 is actually the same code, so you're getting Pyxel to do the same thing, just using Python code instead of Blockly. So tutorial 1 consists of a sequence of light, sound, and then a motion. And here's a demonstration of that program running. It's got the green lights on all of its body. It's making the purr sound, and then it wiggles its butt and wags its tail. The second tutorial is called Virtual Treat, and in this one we use the proximity sensor to initiate a sequence, and the sequence consists of an icon in the eyes, an icon in the mouth, a sound, and then an action, a wag. And in the Python programming language we use the if command. So program 2, proximity sensor. It's got the surprised eyes, it barked, and it's wagged its tail, so it's worked. So I tried sending it a second time and it didn't work, and when I checked the iPad it had become disconnected. But I thought you could use this remote without it being connected to the web page, so I don't know. We'll try again anyway. Still not working. Why? Try one more time. So we're using 2 on the remote again. Activate the proximity sensor. And it's not running program 2. No idea why. It did work before, but now it's not working anymore. Okay, so it's the following day now, and I've been working through some of the other tutorials, as you'll see later in the video, and the dog's been working absolutely fine. So I'm going to try pressing 2 now and see if it will work. Yep, it's worked. I don't know if it's because yesterday it kept disconnecting from the web browser. So at the end of the video I'm going to try switching on the dog and not connecting to the web browser and seeing if any of the programs work just using the little remote control thingy. Tutorial 3 is called Listen, and in this piece of code we use the microphone to initiate a sequence, again using if in the Python programming language. So the sequence starts with a sound, and then we've got an icon in the mouth, an icon in the eyes, another icon in the eyes, and then a movement chase tail. I've just checked my internet connection and I've been chucked off again. So we'll try switching the dog off and switching it back on. Now I've got an internet connection. Press 3. So I'll clap again. Right, so it's actually done it there. So I don't know, was I not clapping hard enough? So we'll try it one more time. So that's 3. And clap. It's doing it now.
How about tapping it with something twice?
Oh, that's a good idea. That's worked. Right, so what it seems to be is it's not picking up on the clap, and it's like you've got to clap loads of times before it'll pick it up.
It's pretty
right.
bad, because it's a loud clap.
Right, that's worked. That's really poor, isn't it?
Very poor sensitivity from the microphone, yeah.
The fourth tutorial is called Body Movement Loop. This program starts with a sequence of 4 movements: wag, sit, backward, stand up, and then has 2 other actions in a loop 4 times, which is turning to the left and the right, and you use the count in range command in Python. So we'll try sending program 4. And he did that really nicely, so we'll send it one more time. So he wags his tail, he sits, he goes back, he stands, and then he does the right turn and the left turn 4 times. Tutorial 5 is called Petting Pyxel. This program uses the touch sensor to initiate a sequence including a loop, and it uses the if and for count in range commands in Python. It starts with an action, wagging the tail, an icon in the eyes, and then 2 actions, shake and stand up, looped twice, and finishes with the sequence of certain lights, a peeing action, a stand-up action, and then some different lights being turned on. So we'll try sending program 5. And now we'll try touching the head. So it went through the whole routine there. We'll just do that one more time. So sending program 5. Then as soon as you touch the head, it wags and its eyes get the heart. Though the eyes already have the heart of last time. And then it repeats the shake twice, and it repeats the stand up twice. Then the lights turn yellow, it pees, stands back up, and the lights turn purple. So I'm going to try and do something now. because I think yesterday when I was pressing a different button, it was like making it not react to the code I've just put in, if you see what I mean. I'll just try that out. I'll try pressing 4. So it did program 4 there for tutorial 4, fine. So let's try 5 again now. That's working perfectly today. Tutorial 6, the final tutorial, is called Object Avoidance, and this uses the proximity sensor. So this program consists of a 5 times loop and the sequence wag, lights of a certain colour, and then the proximity sensor needs to be activated in order for the rest of the sequence to run. So we've got an action forward, then we've got lights red, another action backward, and then we've got a turn. So I'll press 6 to initiate program 6, and I've got a couple of hedges here to see if it can avoid them. Oh, that was good. I'll press 6 again. Well, I'm really impressed with that. That was really good. Okay, so I am not connected to the web browser, and I'm going to see if that makes any difference. So I'm going to start with the last program, program 6, obstacle avoidance. So I'm not connected to the web browser, but 6 worked fine. So let's try 5, which is using the touch sensor. Yeah, it's working fine, even though not connected to the web browser. And now I'll try 2, which was using the proximity sensor. Yeah, it's working. Now, why was that not working yesterday? I thought it was maybe because my device kept being disconnected from the web browser. But you don't even need to be connected to the web browser for this little remote control thingy to work. So, just seems like flakiness. So before we share our thoughts on Pyxel, just want to point out something. I mentioned being disconnected from the internet there, which was not right because you don't connect to the internet with this dog at all.
No, it might just help to clarify what's going on here with your iPad or your Android phone when you connect to Pyxel. Most toys would connect through an app.
But this doesn't have an app.
This doesn't work like that. You connect to the dog's Wi-Fi through your device's web browser rather than your own router. And when you connect to the dog's Wi-Fi using your device's web browser, you see a web page which is an internal web page that's served up by Pyxel, and that's how you program it. And it seems a fairly unusual way this day and age to do it like that, and I think that introduces a bit of flakiness into it. Because one of the things that happens that I've noticed is that, say you're using an iPad and you connect to, instead of your router, you connect to Pyxel's internal web page. You connect to its Wi-Fi and then its internal web page. Your device, like your iPad or your Android phone, thinks, oh, well, I'm connected to the internet, but there's no data on this connection. And very often it doesn't like that. It sort of knows it's not connected to a proper router. So I don't know if that's introducing a bit of flakiness or not. But
I
sometimes
think it does, because it's like it wants, your device wants to connect to your normal Wi-Fi.
The real internet that it knows there's a data
Yeah,
connection
yeah.
on.
And it's not just me, because I had a look at some Amazon reviews and somebody was saying exactly the same thing.
Yeah, so it's a flaky way to do it this day and age. It would be far better if they produced an app.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So just carrying on from that, I really do not think this is reliable enough to learn programming or to practice any kind of programming, because when you're doing programming, what you should be focused on is, have I done everything right in my program?
Correct.
It's not working, so what have I done wrong?
Yeah.
Go back and check.
Yeah.
Now, if it's not working because
of other reasons,
that is just going to make it impossible.
Makes tracing the bugs in your own program very, very difficult.
And imagine for a kid.
Yeah, very frustrating.
Really frustrating. I got frustrated yesterday, never mind a child. Another issue was the microphone. Now, this only has 3 inputs: microphone, touch sensor, and proximity, which are infrared, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Reflective infrared in the
So
nose.
it's only got 3 inputs, and one of those inputs is next to useless.
Next to useless, yeah.
Because it's so insensitive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The sensitivity is so low on it.
It is.
That it might as well not be there.
Though again, it introduces this unreliability into, is your program functioning right or not?
Exactly.
Is it because of bugs in your code, or is there something wrong with the microphone?
Next, we're going to talk about this.
Yeah. So when you write a program in Blockly on your iPad, and can you send that straight to the dog, or can you send it to this device first?
You can run it on the dog first.
You can run it on the dog first.
But the thing is, you can only run it on the dog if you've got a connection with it on its internal browser.
Yeah. Its web page, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're having trouble with that, you
can't
can't send it straight to the dog.
Okay. Also, the dog can only hold one program. It can't store programs, and if you turn the dog off, the program's lost.
That's right. So you can only store the programs on here, and you can only store 6.
Yeah. So there's programs. This is like an intermediate storage device that you can store your programs on after you've written them on the web browser. Yeah. So this is like an intermediate storage device, and you can store up to 6 programs on here. And then when you press the button, it uses an infrared link to transmit them to the dog. This is an incredibly poor and complex way of doing it.
Clunky.
Oh yeah, it's so awkward. I mean, it would have been best to have the storage on the dog.
Yeah.
And store your programs on the dog. It's so poor.
And this works, as we've seen in this video, without you connecting to the Wi-Fi in the dog.
It's supposed to, yeah. So you should be able to...
Is it Wi-Fi or is it Bluetooth?
I believe it's Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So without you connecting to the Wi-Fi in the dog...
With your iPad. So you could just turn your dog on one morning and the programs that you've stored in here, you could
They're still there.
press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
As I found today.
Yeah, and the dog executes the program.
Yet yesterday, I pressed 2 for program 2 to run. It ran it. Pressed 2 again, and it wouldn't run it anymore.
Yeah, so there's several elements of flakiness in this toy.
Yeah. The final thing I would say is that you don't learn Python.
No, it's extraordinarily limited.
I learned, right, was if and counting range.
Yeah.
That was it. Mm-hmm. Now you can do that in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That is not learning Python.
No, so it's very misleading to say
very
it's a
misleading.
toy that your child can learn Python on.
Yes. So you have your tutorials, and then once you've done your tutorials, you can go into the Blockly programming. Mm-hmm. Now you have got things all down the side, like listed under...
In the Blockly.
Yeah, the Blockly actions, expressions,
so
sensors.
Blockly.
So you can play around with
quite
that.
Quite comprehensive as a programming
Yeah, you can play around with that and you can do something different. When you go into the Python programming page after doing your tutorials, there is nothing.
Yeah.
It's just a blank page.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you supposed to start doing your own stuff or learning further?
Yeah.
You do not learn Python.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So I'm afraid to say, folks, that I would absolutely not recommend this to learn coding.
No, it's one of the worst toys I've seen in a long time, and the idea that your child can learn Python on this is completely misleading.
Completely. And it's not very good for learning Blockly.
No.
If you want to get something so that your child can learn Blockly, I'd say get an MBot.
MBot, yeah, it's been around a long time.
Yes, I got an MBot. I never had any of this trouble with it. Mm-hmm. And I learned loads with the MBot. But this just doesn't work well enough to be able to learn any kind of programming.
It's incredibly expensive.
And it's so expensive. I noticed in the US it's been reduced to $80 odd. In the UK, it's £130 on Amazon. Yeah. There's no way that is worth £130. No way. And I've seen some outlets and they're selling it for $150. Mm-hmm. And I think anybody who's paid that is going to be mightily disappointed.
So disappointed, yeah. Don't touch it. MBot hardware and software has been around a long time.
And it works.
And it works very well. So get that instead.
So, folks, that about wraps it up for this video on Pyxel. I hope that's some help to people who are undecided whether to get this or not, because I think you really need to know how it actually works in the real world. So, thanks for watching as always, and hope to see you next time with what I'm sure will be a more positive review of something else.
Yeah.